Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm very excited to share a great tool with you, which is called Retype. Retype is an ultra high performance website generator that allows you to create in no time a documentation website. In this video I'm going to show you how to get started with Retype and then how to deploy your documentation website online for free. Retype is a fantastic tool. It allows you to create with no code a very beautiful website like the one that you can see here on my screen. This is the Retype website that I'm actually showing you, and as you can see we have here a sidebar which you can use to navigate through our website. We are going to generate something similar later on. Then we have here the body of the page in which we can display the content to our users, and here on the right we have a very nice navigation bar that allows us to quickly scroll through the page and navigate inside the page. You also get a search bar here, which you can search for content inside your website. It's very highly optimized, so you are able to find all the content of your website. Then you can toggle between light and dark mode here, and then you're allowed to add links both at the top in the navigation bar and in the footer. I think Retype is a fantastic tool because it's super simple to get started with. It requires no coding or no prior knowledge about coding, and therefore I think it's a great tool because you don't need to know JavaScript or Python to create a documentation website. At the same time, it's highly customizable. It's very simple to create because you just have to write a few Markdown files and you can deploy it for free. Other great tools are online to deploy documentation for free. However, first of all, you need to know how to code. And the second thing, they need a server to serve the content to your users. With Retype, you just have to write a few Markdown files, then you're going to build your website, so you're going to create a few HTML pages. All this is automatically done by Retype, so you don't have to worry about, and then you can host your website for free, either on GitHub Pages or on Netlify. I'm going to actually show you how to deploy your Retype website to Netlify. Let me quickly show you before we start with this tutorial how Retype compares with Docusaurus and GitBook. I'm actually showing you these two tools because are two tools that I've already covered here on my channel. I'm a huge fan of Docusaurus because it allows you to create a very beautiful documentation website with very minimum coding. However, I warn you that if you want to get started with Docusaurus, you need to know a bit how to code. That's not the case at all with Retype, and that's also not the case at all with GitBook. GitBook, in addition, also offers a very nice interface that you can use online to create your documentation website. What's the catch with GitBook? Well, GitBook is free up to a certain limit, so you can create a few personal websites for free, but then eventually if you want to use it, you have to pay. And consequently, I think Retype is a perfect solution because it's super simple to get started, but at the same time you don't have to pay. Retype also offers a paid plan, and the paid plan basically allows you to create a website with more than 100 pages, and also it allows you to remove from the sidebar Power with Retype, this message here that you can see on my screen. However, I don't think it's a big deal, and it's very nice to give credit to them for the great work that they have done. So you can easily use Retype for free, and you can deploy as many websites as you want for free. The only thing that you need to have installed in order to get started with Retype is Node. How you can install Node is super simple. So just do a Google search, or here I'm actually using the search of Brave Engine, and then you just look for Node, Node.js, and then you download the latest version of Node for your computer. I have Node already installed on my computer, so I'm not going to install it again. But in this case, I would actually install the LTS version. I will have to click here, and then you can easily download Node on your computer, and then you just click on the installer and you install it on your computer. A similar procedure will apply for Mac or Linux computers. Let me go back to Retype and let's start a project together. As usual, if you value what you will learn in this video and if you enjoyed what I've shown you, please consider liking my video, subscribing to my channel, and also you could consider supporting my channel by buying me a coffee. More information down in the video description below. Alternatively, you can also support my channel on Patreon. Let's get started. So the first thing that we need to do in order to get started with Retype is to install Retype on our computer. And first of all, generate a folder on our computer into the downloads folder. And I'm going to create a new folder here. And I'm going to call it Retype and then underscore YouTube. So I can just open this folder. As you can see, at the moment there is nothing inside. And then I can create the first file. In this tutorial, I'm going to use VS Code to edit the Markdown file. However, feel free to use any IDE of your liking. I'm going to be using VS Code just because it's for free. So I'm going to be opening the command line here. So I'm going to type cmd and then I'm going to type code and then period. This is going to open VS Code in this directory. And I have to say that yes, I trust the author of this folder. So let me open full screen this VS Code. And as you can see, we have an empty folder here. The first thing that we are going to be needing to do is to create a Markdown file, which will contain the content of the landing page of Retype, of our documentation website. So we have a few options here. You can call the landing page either readme.markdown or index.markdown. I'm going to use the second option, so I'm going to call it index.md and then press enter. Here I'm going to say welcome and then I'm going to say this is our documentation website created with Retype. Okay, so now that we have our index.markdown file, the next step that we are going to be needing to do is to open our terminal. That you can use the terminal that I've just opened before, or we can use the terminal that is inbuilt inside here VS Code, and we need to check that we have Node installed on our computer. So in order to do that, we can do node-v, and here we can see that I have version 16.14 installed on my computer. If you don't have it installed on your computer, just follow the instruction that I just showed you before on how to install Node. The second thing that we need to do is to check that we have Retype installed on our computer. And as you can see, I don't have Retype installed on my computer. That's fine. We have two options now. We can install Retype globally on our computer. So we just have to install it once for all the project. Alternatively, we can install Retype locally inside this project. I'm going to be using the second option just to show you how you can do it and how you can just keep it compartmentalized. Also, I'm going to show you how to install Retype for your specific machine. So if you want to install Retype globally, you just have to use this command here, npm install retype app -- global. Okay, so in this way you're going to be able to install Retype globally, and then you have to just install it once and then you don't have to install it again every time that you want to create a Retype website. In my case, I'm going to be creating just one Retype website, so I can even install it inside this folder here. Okay, so let me show you how to do that. Instead of using the command global, we have to say npm install and then we're going to say Retype. If you want to keep the installation file even smaller, so we can target a specific version of Retype. In my case, I'm going to therefore use this command here, which is npm install retype app Windows x64, because I have a 64-bit machine. Okay, so this is going to install Retype inside this folder you will see here a new folder appearing called node modules, and then inside over there I'm going to have Retype. As you can see, it was super quick to install Retype, and now if I navigate inside node modules, I have Retype app Windows e64. The next thing that we're going to be needing to do is here in the package.json to add a way to start Retype. This, I promise you, is going to be the only coding that you need to do, and then we're going to be able to start creating our Retype website. So how can we do that? So we have to go here inside the curly braces, and then we have to write scripts, curly braces again, and inside here we just have to write two things. One is start, and then we are going to say semicolon, and then we say Retype watch, and then we say comma, and then we write build, which is going to be semicolon, and then we say Retype build. Okay, so this is the only thing that you need to write. If you want, you can also indent it a little bit better, but that's not important. Okay, so we can just indent it a little bit better, and then here we have our two scripts. Later on, we're going to run the start script and the build script. The run script is to have a local host on our computer and see our Retype website looks like, and the build, we're going to build our website before we deploy to using Netlify. Okay, so let's go here back into the terminal and we say npm run, and then we're going to say start. This is going to start a local server here on our computer. So this command that we just have run has started a local server here on localhost, port 5000. I have set up Opera on my browser, but for this tutorial I'm actually using Brave. So let me navigate here, let me open a new page, and I type localhost and then semicolon port 5000. This is going to show us our website. Okay, so at the moment we have our project name, which is the name of our documentation website, a link here in the navigation bar, which is getting started, and it brings us back to the Retype website. Of course, we're going to be able to change that. Then we have the search, so we can search for content inside our Retype website. We can toggle between light and dark mode. We can also see the history of our website, and here we can navigate through the page of our website. Okay, I told you it was super simple. You just needed one command to get started with Retype. Let's start adding pages to our website and see what we can do. Inside Retype here, inside this folder, we're going to create another page, which we're going to say introduction, and you can call it you can call this file as you want, but the important thing is the extension of your file is Markdown. So inside here, we're going to say introduction, how to get started with Retype. And as you can see, as I type, the website gets automatically updated in real time. So I can just type for a new sentence, so I can say new word here. And as you can see, automatically this is updated here on the local server, which I think is fantastic because you can just write your content and automatically Retype and has auto reload. So you can see in real time all the changes. Okay? So, of course, we can add more and more pages, but we can also add nested pages, okay? So, we don't have to have just one page underneath each other, but as there is here on the Retype website, we can also have nested pages inside a drop-down. To create that is super simple. We just have to go back here. We're going to create a new folder, which we're going to call it like guides, as they did. Of course, you can call it as whatever you want. And then inside here, of course, you have to create other Markdown file. As we did before, the main file is going to be called index.markdown. and then we're going to call it like here guide. This is a guide on how to use Retype. And then we're going to create another page and say formatting. Okay. And then we're going to add an extension of Markdown again. And then we're going to add a title of formatting. If you don't know how to get started and how to use Markdown, I would suggest you, as they do, to visit this page, which is markdownguide.org, and here you can find a cheat sheet on how to write basic Markdown syntax. Okay, for instance, if you use one hash that I've already shown you here in this example, you can have an heading 1, 2 hashes is an heading 2, and then we have an heading 3, bold text, italicize, and so forth. I'm going to show you an example actually from their Retype website. Okay, so let's see what we have done here. So we have actually our project here, which we have welcome, and then we have guide. Inside guide here we have formatting here, and then we have our file, which is introduction. If I move, of course, introduction inside this folder, which is called guides, VS Code is asking me if I actually want to move it, then we can see that introduction is now inside guide. And you can also see that this index.markdown file here does not really appear, because this index.markdown file is going to be the page that you access when you actually click on guide. And then we have formatting and introduction. Let me move back this introduction to the main folder here. And we're going to move it somewhere here. Okay, so now introduction is no longer nested inside guide. I will not cover everything because Retype allows and gives you a lot of features on how to do a lot of things, how to add this link here in the navigation, how to change the footer, and so forth. So I'm just going to cover a bit of the things, and then I will let you explore. But before we end the video, I'm going to show you how to deploy the website on a site like Netlify that is for free. So let me copy some boilerplate code here inside this formatting page that I actually got it from the official Retype website. So if I go here in formatting, let's have a look quickly at all the things that I've added inside here, because I think is a great example. So the first thing that we can see that I've added here in this file is a preface. A preface is a bit of information that we can pass to Retype to explain additional features that we want. Here we can add tags, we can add the author of this page, and so forth. Again, if you want to have more information about this, you can go to the page config here on Retype, and then you can see all the things that you can add. You can add author, email, authors, avatar, and so forth. Okay, so let's go back to our page here, formatting. And so this is how we have added this icon. If I change from note, I change it to rocket, we should be able to see a rocket here. Okay, so here inside we have simple markdown file, which we have an heading 1. Then we can see that we can add links. Then we can add alert here with 3 exclamation mark. We can add code, we can embed code so we can show, and then Retype is super handy because it gives us automatically this copy button, so we can just easily copy this code, and then if we want we can paste it inside here. Of course, if you paste it as it is, it's going to create an heading with a paragraph. If instead you put this code inside the 3 backticks, it's going to show like as here code that we can just display to the user. Other very nice thing that we can add here is text in bold, text in italics. Retype is also great because it allows you to very easily create tabs inside your page, and to create a tab you just have to use this code here. Of course we can change like the name of the tab, and we can say tab A, and this is going to be reflected inside here automatically. The user is going to be able to toggle between the tabs. So another very nice thing that we can add are lists, and you can see an example of a list here. We just have to say 1, 2, 3, and this will also work if you just say 1, 1, 1, because Markdown is smart enough to detect that this is going to be a list. Alternatively, you can replace this with just a dash, and this is not going to be an enumerated list. Again, if you want to find out more on how to use Markdown, please check this Markdown cheat sheet, or just go inside here, Retype components, and as you can see, there are a lot of other things that you cannot usually add to common Markdown file, but Retype allows you to add emoji, columns, badges, buttons, and so forth. Let me show you, for instance, how to add a table, and we can just copy this boilerplate code here, and this is going to add us a table in our website. So here you can see that we have a table, and as you can see, there are a lot of other things that we can add. We can add charts with mermaid, we can add panels, we can add links, tabs, tables, list, images, icons, file download. We can even add buttons to our website, and this button can be just similar to kind of a link, a normal link, but then if you put like this question, this exclamation mark in front, is going to create a button, but also you can redirect the button to another page. So you can change the target to the button, either to a page inside your Retype documentation, or you can also link a page that is outside. So let me actually show you an example. So I'm going to copy here, and I'm going to add a button here. So we saw that is similar to add a link. Target blank, it means that is going to be opening a new page, and then we have to say the text inside this button, which is Retype, and this is going to be the link that is going to open. So let me go back to formatting here, and then if you click on this website here, as you can see, it's going to open a new page, a new tab here in our browser, and it's going to take us to Retype. Of course, you can change that, and you could have put google.com. Alternatively, you could also direct it to a page inside your website. And for instance, you could redirect it to .index.markdown. And then in this case, if I click here, this is going to go to guide. If you don't want to open it in a new tab, but you just want to navigate to that page, let me go back here, Retype. If I click here, I go to guide. Again, if you want to find out more, I would suggest you to just look at their components. The last thing that I want to show you before we go to the final step, and I will show you how to deploy the website, we can check the retype.yaml file. This is a file that is not necessary for you to have it, but it really helps if you slightly want to configure your file. Again, here there are a lot of options that we can add, which are great because they allow you to change the website based on your needs and based on your like. Today we're going to keep it simple, and we're going to see how changing some of these fields here affect your website. But then I will suggest you to just go on their website here and go in configuration here, project configuration, and inside here you can read a bit more on how to configure this Retype YAML file. Okay, so let's open our file here, and let's go here, Retype. The only thing that I will want you to change is the output, because by default is actually saving all the files to a folder called .retype. We want to change that, and we want to have the output to go to a build folder. Here we can add the URL of our website. There is no need to do that if you're going to deploy on Netlify. Here we can change the branding of our website. So here, as you can see, is project name, but we can say Retype YouTube. And this is going to change the project name. And as you can see here, it has changed here at the top. And if you want, you can have this label as docs, or also you can remove that. This is going to remove that docs here. Here we can add the links in the navigation bar here as getting started, but if you want, we can add more links. So let me duplicate these, and I'm going to change these, and I'm going to say my website, and then I can paste the link to my website. So now if you click here, you get redirected to my personal website. Finally, the last thing that I want to show you is this copyright message here at the bottom, which of course you can change it, and then you can say copyright of my website, or I just want to show you that it's super simple to change it. Okay, so if you want to find out more, there are a lot of other things that you can configure inside your website. Just have a look here, because you can add a logo dark, logo align, you can add colors, you can also add a fave icon here. The fave icon is the small icon that is going to appear here at the top. Let me actually add one, because I just want to show you how to add static images, and actually that's also another important thing that I want to show you. So here in Retype, we can go here, create new folder. If you want to add images, we have to create a folder which is called static. Okay, and inside here we are going to add our fave icon, and we're going to add an image. So I just want to show you how to add an image to your website. So let me grab this fave icon. You can generate one for free, like just using a website, like for instance this one here. I've already generated one, so I'm just going to just get that one and copy it inside here. So here I have a fave icon that I've already generated, so I can just drag and drop it inside here, faveicon.ico, and then we can go here, retype, and then we just have to add this fave icon. So here, wherever you want, I'm just going to add it here before the footer, and then we just have to change the name of the image, because it's going to be inside the static folder, but it's called faveicon.ico. And as you can see now, we have our fave icon that has changed and it has been updated. Let me also get an image from this great website, which is called Unsplash. I'm going to get this image here, which are all free. So I'm going to call it Windows. It's just the first image that I got. Here I'm going to drag it also inside static, and now we have the windows.jpg image. So if you want to add this image to our documentation website, we can just use the command to add images. So it's going to be an exclamation mark followed by a square braces, which is empty. And then here we have to put the path to the image. Of course, our image is called Windows. So it's going to be windows.jpg, and automatically it's going to add our image. If you want to, just check on the documentation website. If you want to add an optional caption, title, links, alignment, this is going to allow you to just change the image and to edit a bit the image in a way that you like it. Okay, so the last thing that I want to show you is how you can deploy now this website for free on Netlify. You can of course also deploy this website to GitHub Pages, and it's up to you. You can choose whichever website you want. I like to use Netlify just because it's for free, and I think it's a great tool, and it allows you to very simply deploy your website, but feel free to use GitHub Pages if you like it more. So if you want to find instruction on how to deploy it on GitHub Pages, you can just look on the Retype website, the official documentation, and I think it's already very well documented over there. So that's why I don't want to show you how to do it again, because they already explain how to do that, but they don't explain how to deploy it on Netlify. So I'm going to show you how to deploy it on Netlify. So the first thing that we need to do is to check here this retype.yaml file to make sure that everything is fine. We changed before the output to be in the build folder, and let's just move here this fave icon in line 4 just right after the URL. To build our website, we just have to go back into the terminal, Ctrl+C, and just say yes. Let's terminate this job. This is going to terminate the local host on our computer. Then we can check here in the package.json that before we added the script, which is build script. In VS Code, we can just here click on run script, but let's go to the terminal and say npm run build. This is going to create a folder here, which is going to be build, because we just specify here in the YAML file. Here, this is the build folder, and we just have to grab this build folder and upload it in Netlify. So here is our build folder inside the Retype YouTube. Here I'm inside Netlify. You can just log in, you can create an account for free, then you go in sites, add a new site, deploy manually. Of course, you can connect it to GitHub, but that requires a little bit more effort. I just want to keep this as simple as possible, and then you can make it more complex and more automatic with continuous deployment, of course. So you can just grab this folder here, build, you can just go here, drop it. This should take only a few seconds to deploy, and then just refresh this page here. And then we can see that our website has already been deployed. So now you can share this website with whoever you want. You have a very nice functional documentation website that you have created practically in no time with search functionalities. So you can say words, and here, as you can see, we can go to the quick start, and you can navigate, you can toggle, and you can share the website with friend. Another very nice thing that you can do if you want to here inside Netlify, even without having to buy a specific domain, is to go to domain settings here, and then you can say here edit site name, and you can say Retype example, let's say YouTube. Of course, you can change the name. This is going to be a subdomain of netlify.app. Then we can press on save, and now we have our custom domain. So here now is where our website is actually deployed. I really hope you find this video interesting. If you value my time and my effort, and if you think that you have learned something new and something useful, please consider liking my video and subscribing to my channel. I would really also appreciate if you could, if you can, support my channel by buying me a coffee. If you can't, no worries, just write a comment down below if you have any question, or just something to let me know that you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for listening, and see you in the next video.